Now we are going to finish the front of the car. What we're going to do first is we're just going to press tab to go to edit mode, and what I want to do, actually I'm just going to show you in object mode real quick. It shows a little better in object mode. You can see we have like this darker shading here, and as you move it around you can see the difference. You can see what I'm talking about, how we have this darker shading. And really the cause of that is like the fact that we indented this. And in order to remove this shading and make this look a little cleaner or a little nicer, we can go into edit mode by pressing tab, and all we have to do is add in an extra edge that goes right along this side and right along this side. So to do that, we're going to go to edge selection, and we're going to select this edge and then C for circle select and get these, then click subdivide. Now we're going to hold Alt and right click on this to get this this whole edge loop. And I'm going to use Q for edge slide. Again, if you don't have it set up, you can go to mesh, edges, and set up your hotkey just like I've done before. And you want to get this fairly close. It doesn't have to be like super close, but something like this will be fine. And then we want to go to vertex select and select these two vertices and press J to join to complete that line. Then we want to do the same on the right side, so we're going to go back to edge select to get this edge, C for circle select, then right click to get out of it, subdivide, Alt, right click, Q to edge slide, and move it in about the same distance as the one on the left. Go to vertex select and get these two vertices, press J to join. And now if we take a quick look at this, you can see that that shading has been corrected, and we have a nice sharper edge here on both sides. So this sticks out a bit more, makes it look a little more defined, and gives it a better look overall. So the next thing we want to do is we kind of want to start filling in the bottom of this a little, as well as working on making that front piece here and filling in these holes. So first let's start with filling in the bottom here. So we're going to go back into edit mode, and we move these two vertices like too far over before, so we're just going to move them forward some and over some, and do the same with this one, move it forward and over some. And we can also move this one back some till it's more in line with this, but actually a little closer to the back of the car. And I'm just gonna move that one a little more. Now what we want to do is get all these bottom vertices here, so all these right here, just click one, hold shift and get the rest, and we want to bring them over to start making the bottom of the car. And we're going to straighten these out by pressing S, X, and then 0 to make these all perfectly aligned on the x-axis. Then we're going to grab it on the x-axis, hold control, and snap it to this vertex so that they're all in line like this. So now we have part of the bottom started. And the next thing I'd like to do is select this vertex now as well, and press E to extrude, right click to cancel, and then bring them all the way to the center. So now we have the bottom of the car started. It's looking nice. And to fill in this little hole right here, I mean in the real world it would actually be a hole so that the air can go through, but we're going to just hide it basically. So we're going to select these two vertices and press E to extrude, right click to cancel, and bring this up on the z-axis. And then maybe forward a little, something like that. And then take this vertex, hold, press G, and then hold control and snap it to this one. not really sure I like how that looks because it looks like it's too light. Like the shading is wrong. So I'm just going to go back and do Control Z a few times until it's straight again. And maybe that's just, maybe if we add in an edge loop here with Control R, we can kind of correct that shading. I guess not. So we're just gonna do what we did initially. We're just gonna snap this one to this one and move this one forward until it's hiding that hole that's there. We're just gonna color this black because, like, when you look at the car, that section here, it's just black. I mean, really it would be a hole, but you can't really tell, or you won't be able to. So now we want to make this piece, and if we get a better image, maybe, but I guess this one's the best one we have. So you can see that it doesn't start all the way at the bottom. It starts a little bit up higher, and it also doesn't start at the very end of where these white pieces are. It starts in a bit, so it needs to start in a bit and up a bit. To make this, we're just going to use a cube. Make sure you're in edit mode. Left click here somewhere, then left click over there to move your cursor. Go to create, choose cube. And whenever you make a cube like this and you intend to move it together to join them, you want to make sure you get rid of the face on the inside because it's not necessary. So select the face by going to face select, then right clicking it, press delete, and choose faces. Now we can select one of these, go to select linked to get all of it, and drag them together. Once they are touching, let go, and they will be merged at the center. Now we can scale it down with S. Drag it down a little, scale it again with S. Go to front view with 1 so we can get a better look at this, and press Z for wireframe. Try to position this where we think it should go, something like this. And you can scale on a certain axis like the Z axis by doing S and then Z if you want to make it thinner or fatter. So basically something like this. And this needs to go forward a little because we need to have a little bit of space, but not too much space between this. So that looks good. Now we can see it kind of comes to a point and it curves out just like the front of this does. So we want this point to curve out more. So the center needs to curve out. So we're going to go to vertex select, hold Alt, right click on this, and drag it forward some. But we don't want to drag it forward too much because from side view you actually can't see it, so it means that it's not further out than this point. Even though if we look in side view here in the reference, it does show that it goes out further, but again, you always want to go with the real world thing. This is showing that it's not sticking out. So in other words, it should not be sticking out. So it needs to be more like this so that you can't see it or that you can barely see it. So that's more or less how it should be. And again, we're not going to need that face on the inside, so go back to face select, press Z, and get this face on the back side. See, it's on the back. Just press delete, choose faces, because no one's going to see that face. Now we're going to go back to vertex select, hold Alt and right click on this, and that should get the whole thing. If it doesn't, just make sure you have the whole back part and just pull it back. For me, that looks good enough. But this is actually supposed to be beveled, like the top and the bottom are supposed to have a bevel to make it nice and round, like you can see here. It's rounded off. So we're going to hold Alt and right click here, hold Alt and Shift, right click here. That'll give us this. And we want to go to Edge Select and deselect this edge by holding Shift and right clicking. And then do Control B to do an edge bevel. And just do a small bevel. Something like that. And I think we need to turn on smooth shading again. So in object mode, go to Tools and do smooth shading. Yeah, now you can see smooth shading. So we have a little shading issues here. We're gonna do control. Well, actually, first I need to pull this back more. It looks like. So I'm gonna Alt right click this and pull this back, just so it's hidden, like that. So it's totally hidden. Then we want to do in wireframe. We want to do Control R, add in a loop cut, and bring this close. And that hopefully will fix the shading a little. I don't think it really did actually. Nope, it didn't. So I think we need to do, I just did Control Z to get rid of all that loop cut. We're going to try adding one over here. We'll actually have to do it on this side. So Control R, bring it almost to the edge. If you can't see it, do Z for wireframe, and you can also use Q for edge slide if you've already made your edge. And that looks like that actually got rid of the shading problem there. So that looks good. Another thing I wanted to do is, this isn't the best image to see it. This one is better. Like the front actually has like this this edge that you can see. Just like this one, you can see like there's this line here. There's another one that's on the front. It's not like, you can't really see it the best here, but there definitely is a, this one's not very good either, but there definitely is a line that you can see there. It's kind of faint, yeah, but it is there. So we want to make a line like that so it's visible, just like this one. To do that, we're going to do something similar to how we made these. We're just going to do Control R, add in a loop cut, bring it close. Well, actually, for the center one, we don't want to do that. So I'm just going to right click and Control Z that. What I wanted to do instead is to take these center vertices and bring them away so that it'll make a little cut here. So I'm just going to do Alt and right click, get this whole edge loop, and we're going to deselect by using C and middle mouse to get rid of those. We're going to turn off clipping for a second, and then we're just going to drag these out. Then we're going to press E to extrude, right click to cancel, and drag them, whoops. Right click again to reset the position, turn clipping on, and now drag them back together. I'm going to select this one, then shift select the middle one, Alt M at last to get rid of that hole. And now we can see we have a very faint line right here, just like we would have on the real car if you had a better picture of it. And we do kind of already have a line over there. It's not the greatest, but it's enough, I think. As far as what we're looking for. And if you want to, you can Alt right click this, deselect this one, and make the lines a little farther apart or closer together depending on what you think looks best. I think like that looks pretty decent. So that's good. Next we want to make this mesh in the center. So, well, not in the center, but you know, in the front of the car. One thing you'll notice about this mesh if you look at some of these pictures is that it is curved, even though from a lot of these views it doesn't really look like it's all that much curved, but from this view on the end on the side here, you can definitely tell that there's curvature to this part, and on this one you can certainly tell that it's curved, especially if you follow along the top where that curve is. So we're going to try to curve it a little. So we're going to go into edit mode and create. This time we're going to make a plane, and we're going to do RX90, press enter, S to scale it down, and drag it into position basically. Bring it back. And it is going to have to be rotated a little because this part of the car is angled, this part that we made. So we're going to do R and then Z and rotate it some until it fits in a bit more nicely, something like that. And then bring these top vertices down so they're hiding. But we really do want to make sure that this is totally covered. Like, we don't want holes visibly showing in our model like that. It's not good. And we also want to add that curvature that we talked about. So we're going to do Control R in wireframe here. Maybe might be easier. Control R and add in 2 loops by using your mouse and scrolling up to make it 2. Then left click, right click. Do the same for this way. Control R, mouse up, left click, right click. Now what we want to do is start bringing these forward. You can move them individually or together if you want. Just bring some of these forward. And we want to try to cover up that hole as best we can. I actually think I made this too tall, but that's okay, I guess. So I'm just using Alt and right click and repositioning these down further because I made that a bit too tall. And you want to take this top one, we're going to bring it forward, bring it down. And again, we're just trying to cover up these holes. So I'm going to do G and snap it to this for now. And I'll snap this one as well with G, holding control, snap that. Do the same with this one, G, hold control, snap to this one. Same here, and same for this bottom one. So those should all be snapped, and we can do the same here, snap to that. Do the same, let me see where this one is, right there. Snap to this one, and then bring it down a little to cover up that other piece. We're going to have to go to Tools and do Smooth Shading again. Just make sure you're in object mode when you do that. So I got to bring these forward, of course. We just want to make sure that it curves outward like it would in the real car, as we saw in the images we have. When you have trouble, like when there's a lot of vertices in one area, a good way to select them in this case would be like to select the whole edge loop, and now you can see which ones are connected, and then deselect these, and you know exactly which, you know that you're moving the correct vertex in this case. So I just snapped it to that one, and then I'm going to bring it forward some and over some. Part of the problem actually is that this part needs to be thinner right here. We made it a little bit too thick, so I need to get this vertex that belongs to this piece and bring it forward so that this part's thinner. And I grabbed the wrong vertex. This one's the one I need. So it needs to be more like this, basically. And that was part of the problem why it wasn't all matching up. There's a little weird shading right here, and that's because this one's back too far, I guess. These are back too far, so it's still a bit weird. I'm going to try sliding these over. Just press G twice when you have a vertex and slide it over. And we'll see if that makes it look any better. Not really. We could just get rid of that vertex, or get rid of the top vertex. So we can select these. I'm going to try getting rid of this top vertex. Bring that one up higher, and use this one to snap instead. That looks a lot nicer. This looks a little weird here. So it's just trial and error until you get something that looks nice like this. And I don't think we need this vertex anymore. I'm going to try to delete it. And this other one that's up there we don't need, so I'm going to delete that one. I guess we do need it, so I'm going to Control Z to get that back. But if I move this one up, we can... That's fine. This is good as it is. So basically you just want to make it look like this, where there's no holes. And then try to curve it forward like I did. So if you look from here, try to curve it forward some. And you shouldn't be able to see behind this piece that we just made. So that's going to be good for now. We're just going to go ahead and save this. And we'll start probably on the back, so we're going to go to File and Save.